You sound exactly like him. Anyone on the stream, if anyone on the stream knows what Anchorman is, they'll agree.
Alrighty.
I don't know if they've responded or not. I don't know the stream name.
I've just started the stream back up. Hopefully, I apologize. Apparently my network just kind of bounced real quick. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, yeah, the chat has pointed out, I like Eclipse, and then the internet shut down. Alrighty. So let's see here. We fixed that. That wasn't something I meant to fix, but we fixed it anyway.
Did your stream not hear about the Anchorman thing?
No, the stream didn't hear about that.
I'm saying anyone on the stream, if you know what Anchorman is, XComp would do an amazing impression of the Anchorman.
Okay, so now we've got that set up. Present, all of the portals are randomly, or the color of the portal will be set randomly based on the receptacle. The receptacle always produces the same color. Let's make this more interesting. Now every time, whoops, I have to move this. Now every time you place a book in, it'll change the color of the portal. This should be fun. Think. Uh-oh. Now it works. I don't know why that doesn't update. Doesn't matter. Every time a different color. Ooh, I like that shade of red. That is a really pretty portal color. Okay. Well, at present, portals will pick random colors anytime. Every time you put in the book, it will give you a different color. And it saves the color, so it will stick if you reload, but not if you put the book back. Alright. Okay, well I might leave that way. This means you can have different colored portals in Mystcraft. I may put in something so you can actually control the color of the portal based off some property in the book. But for now, we won't play with that just yet. Apparently this sheep is in infinite loop mode. It just keeps hopping through that portal over there. Jump in it. Goodbye. And now he's confused and lost. Okay. Well, that's pretty nifty, and that's a lot of fun, actually. I like the different colored portals, so we'll leave that way. Note, for very large portals, it may not render properly at first, but at some point it will update correctly. Chat has pointed out the sheep is thinking with portals. Okay. Both Lyra and Soren have stopped talking to me.
My voice is irritating, so I'll be quiet.
No, I generally prefer if somebody else is talking with me. I
Oh.
do not, or I do not like a completely quiet stream of just me rambling. Alright, so I kind of lost my... There goes that sheep again. Alright, so I've kind of lost my task list. Go away. I closed Minecraft wrong.
Herder.
Okay, so... Yes, the colors will work with 3D shaped portals, like cube portals and things like that. And chat says that they do not find your voice irritating, Luke, so no worries there.
Fair enough.
Alrighty.
I'm normally quite rude. I have to keep it under 18.
Yeah, I'd like to keep the stream clean.
Clean like a baby's bottom.
Indeed. I think it's supposed to be smooth as a baby's bottom.
Baby's bottoms could be clean as well.
Indeed, they should be. Alright, so... Okay. Receptacles generate random colors. Is placed. There we go. Yeah, was there anything else that I did fix during that time? What did I do last? What did I do right before portals? Does anybody know? Does anybody remember? I have no idea. Okay. The only other thing I can remember offhand at the very moment is... Right, I was working with time and sleep, and that didn't manage to get that to work, so no change has to be logged there. Okay. So the only thing I remember at this point is I'm going to work on particle effects. You saw when we linked there were some smoke particles. I want to make those linger longer. The catch for that, apparently, when you render a particle... okay, this is how you spawn particles. You tell the world you want to spawn a particle. It only does anything on the client side. So you tell it the name of the particle you want to spawn. In this case, I'm passing in smoke from somewhere before. The position and velocity. And I guess I could give it a random velocity, but I'm not. At the moment, I'm just kind of starting it off as dead. It calls this, and then it goes through all the world accessors, I'm not sure. And tells them to spawn the particle. So we'll look at what all implements that function. World Manager and Render Global. World Manager doesn't do anything, so we're going to assume that that's not really important. Render Global here calls this function. It really just passes it through to something else, which creates an entity fx, which is the particle class, basically. Let's see here. After adding the effect. So the return is really not necessary. Where all is this function used? Only in Render Global. Auxiliary sound effect. Spawn particle. Okay. All right, so basically it goes through this string, checking to see who's what. It then does some comparisons. If it's bubble, create this. If it's suspend, create this. This is a really terrible way to do this. This is hard-coded into the system.
What are you hard-coding? Don't hard-code.
I don't hard-code. I don't do that. I would have a generic system in here. But Notch likes to hard-code. So this is an absolutely terrible way to do this. And it also means that I don't have an easy way to add a particle to the system unless Forge already has a hook for it, which I'm not seeing one. Nope. No hook for creating the variable, or yeah, creating this entity effect. Fortunately, this is just a handler. This isn't necessary. I don't have to call this function specifically. I need to do what this function does. Let's see here. So what I actually need to do is call this function on an effect. Where else is this used? Down here, down here, down here. Yeah, I just add the effect. So it's really not tricky, and it just calculates where to put it and does that. Someone suggested it may not be hard-coded, but inlined. It's not really any different. There needs to be some way of registering these and then looking them up, and this should be a key in a map. This appears to be some kind of check for distances. So I should pay attention to this. This is the distance check. So I will have to write my own little custom thing for spawning particles. Okay, more functions with the same name that does something a little different. I need to go through and clean all this up. It's actually at the top of this page that it has a to-do. Please clean this up. All right, so let's see here. Remember to do that. I have to check. Basically, I have to make sure that before I render my particles, I'm doing this right. So, basically, I just want to duplicate this function and do it right instead of what Notch did, which is wrong. So actually, to that extent, I can really just copy the function and then show you how it should be done. But in that case, I'm going to move this somewhere else. Let's see here. Create myself a particle helper class. I'll put it... Copy paste will give errors, but I'll clean it up, I'm sure. Let's see here. What's easiest? Because this needs to happen only on the client side, technically. A system to... Somebody suggested that I add something to Forge to do this. That's probably an idea, but right now I don't have that. So this is where the server... This is called on the client side when the server says spawn particles. So the server's already told the client we need to spawn the particles. The client just needs to do so. In that way, Mystcraft dot sided proxy dot spawn particles. Spawn particle. Because I passed in zeros there, this should really be doubles again. Momentum Y, momentum Z. Let's go with motion. Yeah, that's better. Because Minecraft doesn't have an actual physics model, momentum is kind of misleading. Alright. So now I need to do what this function does, basically. I will wind up cutting out a lot of this. I'll wind up rewriting a bunch of this, but for the moment, we'll just kind of copy it in. Oh, wait. This is supposed to be abstract. Or actually, it doesn't have to be abstract. It could just be this. And then the client-side one has to implement it. Oh, yeah. Terminate. Okay. Lots of errors. I expected the errors. There we go. I just removed the this from all those instances. We can really just find this.mc replaced with just mc, and that covers such things. Same thing for this. We'll rename it particle. We'll go ahead and make this return this, just for the sake of simplicity. No we can't. I need somebody in TeamSpeak with me reading off chat, because I can't do both at the same time. Held pointed out it would have been cleaner to refactor the what this was to particle, but unfortunately that wouldn't have worked since it didn't actually tie to a variable name. Alright, so this should actually be X, Y, Z, MC the world, X, Y, Z, motion X, motion Y, motion Z. That's convenient. You just replace all the instances of this with MC. Those variable names are really strange, actually. Let's go back and look. Oops, this is the wrong thing. Here we are. Okay, very strange. Parameter 2, parameter 4, parameter 6, parameter 8. Where are the odd numbers? Normally there would be odd numbers in here, but because of the way it became, it was deobfuscated, I guess MCP probably did something along those lines. But I'm not sure why it did it this way. Actually, it might be Fernflower that did it that way, but I'm not sure. But yeah, don't know where the odd numbers are. Okay, but that explains why it is. Oops, that should be Y, and that should be Z, motion X, motion Y, motion Z. Alrighty. And actually, now that I've corrected those, I'm going to delete them. Because we don't want those. Let's turn off regular expressions. I don't need them right now. X, Y, Z, motion X, motion Y. Oops, that's not right. Motion Y. And then motion Z. Here we go. Now they're all fixed. Hypothetically, anyway. Oh, no, some of them did different things. I'm actually going to go through and change how the system works, as I stated. But for now, we're just doing this. Make all the errors go away. That's wrong. Alright, so they do tie to something. I've had cases where they wouldn't. Nope. See, this one will... Oh, there we go. Got it the second time around. Soren has muted. I think he had to go somewhere for a little while. Let's see here. There's still a couple more errors down here. Okay, well, now I want to be able to provide my own entity. Don't need these. Especially, I'll just make that go away. Because that's a pretty strange catch there. I just want this down to its most basic form. Which is this. What is this? Fascinating. Oh, this is for fewer particles. It cuts out every third. approximately. Bizarre. I'll leave it for the moment. I'd like to code something better, but it does effectively remove every 3, or every third. And then it adds the effect. What's the effect object? Interesting. I wonder what that means. Let's see here. I'm trying to move Veo into a room with us here. There we go. So, has Veo managed to join us? Did I do that right?
Yep.
Okay! Ladies and gentlemen, this is Veovis. He is my right-hand man in basically all things here. He keeps the forums working, he leads the testing.
I do a lot of testing. I run the wiki. I keep the bug tracker clean. Everything.
Yep.
Far too much.
He keeps me sane.
Yep. At the cost of my own sanity.
Alright, so let's see here. I don't know what...
Apologies, English nod. I could try to be female, but it wouldn't really help, so.
That wouldn't really work, no, I don't think. Not a good idea. Alrighty. Oh dear.
Alrighty then.
I believe that was Luke coming back.
Yep.
I always make a comeback.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Alright, so
Alright,
let's...
so I've muted the stream.
Man, I'm tired.
Okay.
The
it's
real
texture.
TBS, it apparently doesn't matter if I'm female or not. Everyone's still saying I'm LRM for some reason. I really don't get it.
Yeah.
This community is just kind of weird.
This community is
You
strange.
You sound like quite a manly Elleron.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what started this.
Are you a chick?
What?
I said, are you a chick?
Oh, no. Which
I'm
is
sorry,
why
I'm sorry.
I'm wondering why it started. Oh, well.
It's probably me. I'm sorry. It genuinely probably was me.
Alright, let's see here.
I regret nothing.
I need a mapping system. So let's see here. Ooh. How do I want to
Can
handle
I
this?
ask?
Go ahead.
Can I ask a favor?
What?
If I gave you the instance of my server pack, which I totally have permission for, do you want to show you stream it?
Not presently at least.
Oh,
I'd rather work on this and then wrap up from that point.
that's what I meant when you wrap up points there.
Maybe?
An impressive build.
Okay. Alright, let's see here. What I need to be able to do is create a particle, so let's see here. Nothing's get particle.
It's a lot more difficult hearing you when you're walking people through and then seeing the delayed video stream that I had to mute.
Yeah, the sync for things is not very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. If I have a mapping for particles, this would give me an object that I can use to create particles from, in theory. So,
That's my favourite saying.
in theory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gotten in the bad habit of using well too much and repeatedly.
Ooh.
Wellity.
Let's see here. I think...
So what are you exactly making? Or are you just doing bug fixes?
Right now he's working on looking at rewriting the particle system to allow him to add arbitrary particles, since everything's hard-coded in the normal system. Because Notch.
Ugh. Is it Notch or is it someone else?
I'm actually not sure.
It's probably Notch, given the style and the actual placement of the code there.
I'd be surprised if any of Notch's code is still in the game.
I think some things are particularly still around. The original render, the render stuff, still seems pretty based towards what it was.
Held player's giving you some code.
Yeah, he's suggesting some code that would require that all of the particles build the same way. I guess this does too, so I can't really help that, can I? Alright.
I'd really... Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was saying I'd really like it if they recoded the auth system. Really would like that.
The OR system, yeah.
No, not authorization system.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've got to turn you up in TeamSpeak. You're a little quiet on my end.
No, sorry, yeah, authorization system. I really wish they'd fix that.
Class.
Because it does not work properly.
Yeah, a lot of that is due to load on the servers, so...
Get more server. Well, they use Amazon, don't they? Ugh.
Yeah, they use Amazon, and so they should be dynamically assigning new servers, but I'm not sure what happens there.
They should dynamically be shot. Just use something else. Actually, no, they did get the offer to use Curse servers, and they laughed.
Ah.
And even Mojang is not that stupid to take servers from Curse.
Oh, XComp, remind me later. I have an idea of something that the colored portals can be tied into.
Okay.
Just not sure if the base mechanic is public knowledge yet, so...
I'm not sure what all I just gave away. Alright, so this should... extends. Oh, wow.
The XCompWiz #1, this will be ready before Valve learns to count to 3. That's about as clear a picture as I can paint. Beyond that, don't know.
Well, Portal 3's coming out.
Okay, this is kind of a problem, because I'd like for the constructor to be able to just be a basic constructor. Otherwise, I have to handle this.
Oh, so many unknown variables.
Hmm.
Didn't they say that Portal 3 was going to come out like last year?
That
And
would
they
be
had
interesting.
they had the idea of, you've escaped the area now. You escaped
Oh,
Vados and Wheatley, and you're going to be going into the real world, and they'll be doing physics with like cars and stuff.
oh, that could be interesting. That's the kindest word I can say is interesting. Balance will be quite difficult with an open area or an area that's meant to feel open.
Exactly. So they're going to have to make a game which knows no boundaries or limits.
No, they're going to have to act like they have a game that knows no boundaries.
Which is at least easier.
Yeah, not easy, but easier.
Yeah.
They'll probably have like a range. They'll probably put a range on the portal or something. Well, considering
Even
that you
so,
shot it on the moon.
well, yeah, there's that, but they could write that off and say that was a one-off, or conditions were just right, or whatever. But even if they put a range on the portal gun, they have to severely limit the surfaces that are available as valid portal destinations and control exactly where they
I'm losing my
are.
train of thought for how this should work.
Apologies.
No, it's fine.
Whoops.
They'd have to lock down the areas you can place portals because players are very, very, very inventive. And they can use portals in new ways to get to new areas, and from there, keep going.
It's Valve,
And
so there will be bugs.
This is kind of a temporary thing here. We'll be moving this somewhere else later. Okay. There we go. Now, this point,
Who knows what they'll pull out?
I don't remember how to do this from a class object. Can I get constructor? That would work.
non-fat, Mystcraft is a mod that brings the linking books and the descriptive books from the Myst series into Minecraft. It allows players to add new worlds to their game. So it's like a multi-dimensional mod, except that players can make their own dimensions.
I honestly thought you were going to say a Mystcraft is a mod that brings all the boys to the yard.
No, can't say that crossed my mind, sorry.
Nope.
Oh, come on.
Portable gym, yeah. Portal gun is definitely in my testing instance. We make sure that it works. It just, we have to get Mystcraft out of the jar before,
Let's get Mystcraft. What?
I like this method
Oh,
better
just-
because I'm more comfortable with this. I can change it around later, but... Oops.
Oh, hang on. Mystcraft doesn't go into a mods folder.
Nope.
No. It will on next release, though.
Fair enough. Do you know what I'm interested about? How Bucket's being changed into a mod.
That will be interesting. I hear it's going to go into core mods, and that way mods won't have to adapt themselves to be Bucket mods. Bucket will be a Forge mod instead.
That's correct.
That's interesting.
That'll save me a lot of support questions.
Tell me about it. What support do you do? Do you do his support?
Yeah, for Mystcraft.
I do Creeper host support.
Oh, fun.
Tell me about it. When your systems went down this morning,
Yeah.
I was going to shoot somebody. I mean, it's my job, I know, but still.
It gets grating, especially, the same question again and again.
That
dozens
doesn't
of
bother
times
me.
a day. And
That doesn't bother me. That's why programming invented, automatic replies.
Yep.
I'm not saying that we do automatic replies. I'm just saying when it comes to stuff like that.
There are requests in the main channel. I heard you were going to use a different way of discovering ages. Would you mind telling us about it? You want me to handle it, or would you like to?
Different way of discovering ages. I'm not sure I understand the
believe
question.
They mean symbols.
If they mean symbols, then yeah, go for it. I think you've got most of the info.
Yeah. So essentially, Mystcraft, right now, you write a blank book, and you use it, and it gets filled in with symbols magically from thin air, and then you copy those, and it leads to, your hard drive gets full of all these random worthless ages you have no plans on using, you have no plans to do anything with. They're just there so that you can learn more symbols. The new method, which is not coming this next release, it's coming in the future, will... Yeah, it will essentially be... It will feel like Indiana Jones in a way. You will explore ages and find symbols in the ages. You'll find ruins, and they'll be full of descriptive books and notebooks and one-off symbols on little pages or tablets or something. And you will take these home and learn your symbols from there. So you're encouraged to go and explore the ages more, and you don't get so many worthless ages that are just there taking up space.
Huh. I'm impressed.
It should add a lot of interaction to the mod, and it should remove the need to spam ages. After this update that I'm talking about, after this far in the future update, you will no longer see the symbols that were added to your books. So you won't be able to copy them, and you won't know what's been added. So that's another incentive to go around exploring. In addition, there will be a research system of some kind. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work. I have an idea of how I would do it, and we'll see. We'll cross that when we get there. Well, XComp will cross that when he gets there. So this means that Mystcraft will have world gen. It will have world gen in ages. In the overworld, it may or may not. I'm not exactly sure. The goal is to stay away from it, but if there is, it would probably be in chests and dungeons and such.
Correct. That would be the most I'd do, I think. Add things to the chests.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it as an interface because that's what I'm going to be using it as anyway. I was just thinking I might add some default functionality to it later and it works better that way. But for now, we'll do this. Okay, it's really hard for me to see full lines with it, the font being this big. Okay, so that's... Oh, and I need to rename this, because I tried it a few moments ago and it wouldn't let me. There we go. Now it's spelled right. Somebody's asking if symbols will be consumable, and while that's an interesting idea, I don't think so. There will be consumables involved, but the symbols themselves will be learned concepts. Alrighty, so now I've got a thingy that can create particles. Nothing actually happens here, but since there's nothing in the mappings, but I could fix that too. And this is bad. I shouldn't do this way. I should have a nice system where I actually register this. But as said, I'm going to move all this shortly. At the moment, I just want to get it working. Did I misspell particle mapping somehow?
I do believe I saw a misspelling of particle somewhere.
Yeah, it was in the class.
Ah.
It's
difficult to watch the stream and the chat at the same time.
Yeah, I know the feeling. It's difficult to try and code and look at this chat at the same time.
Yeah, that's why I came in.
Somebody's complaining about K and R style here, and they're right. I do actually use that style. I like that style, though, so, you know, it's... I am natively a C++ programmer, so that carries over into some of my stylistic selection.
You guys make me feel like a noob. I'm still trying to learn Lua on Computercraft. I've got to start somewhere.
I actually really like Lua. Lua is a fun language to play with. Very flexible, very powerful.
And playing with it in the context of Minecraft allows you to visualize things better. If you're moving a robot around, you're going to learn a lot better than if you were moving a pixel around on the screen.
Indeed.
They end up being the same thing, but the learning is the actual understanding is different.
The understanding is different, and the reinforcement is better for the learning.
Yes, that's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Yep. I'm trying to get RedNet to work at the moment. Like, I literally just want to type in a command, you know, rs.output back, you know, if true. But yeah, I'm still learning. Don't judge me.
Portable Gym, the symbols that are auto-selected will be hidden. The symbols you write will be there, and everyone can see them. You will not be able to see the symbols that were auto-selected. Someone who didn't write the book will not be able to see them. No one will be able to see those auto-selected symbols, but everyone will still see the ones that were intentionally added to the book from a notebook on the writing desk.
Right.
Savudin?
Complaining about this.
I hope I'm pronouncing that right. That would be true if Computercraft didn't already come with a GPS system.
Oh yeah, it does, actually. I find that quite useful.
All of my moving and mining and such APIs will, they check the GPS coordinates and they keep track of their own coordinates. If they lose GPS signal, they still have an idea, and they like to verify where they are according to the GPS. And if it ever mismatches, then it sends a message back to the server saying something is very, very wrong here.
Somebody in chat asked what this tag means, this override tag. And basically what that means is that either an interface that this implements or a class, the class that this class extends, has a function with that name and it matches perfectly above. And it overrides that function, replaces what it would do. Go ahead. I just wanted to explain that real quick.
Yep, no problem. I was done with that. Duffin, symbols will be stored in the books and in notebooks. Players have no symbols attached to them in any way.
Let's go through and rename all these. Okay.
Duffin, the answer remains the same. The research system will not be tied to the player themselves. There's a question for your preference when programming from Fudgesicle13.
Fudge cycle.
Sorry.
My favorite programming preference question, composition or inheritance? I'm not sure what you mean by the term composition. I think what I would normally use in this case is delegation. Can you clarify and make sure that I'm thinking the right thing? Composition versus delegation versus inheritance. Either one works. It depends on context. Most of the time, I would generally prefer inheritance, but delegation, or what I think you call composition, works just fine and very well and helps separate implementations same way. They do work better for certain things, like one works better for some things than the other.
So apparently, even as an op, I cannot post links.
Apparently.
So Wyatt, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. My apologies. Binarymage.com has a link to the mod. There's no proper download page yet. It's all just in blog entries. I keep whacking XComp about that, and he keeps saying, yeah, I've got to get to that.
Yep, I gotta get to that. All right. So looking at this, I've got to figure out how I'm doing this. First, let's look at, and at this point, we're to the point where we're creating the actual particle description. Okay, let's see here. So I'll just copy out smoke, because that's what it currently is. It's how it currently looks. The main thing here that I really wanted to change was the maximum age of the smoke. So I really could just use that. Apparently, since...
So right now, to clarify, you are working on making a longer-lasting smoke effect on the exit point, the place where the player just left, right?
Both places, yes.
Ah, okay.
I'm not going to bother distinguishing.
Ah, I had initially suggested the exit point only, simply because you would see the player on the entrance. You wouldn't need to, you know.
This is true.
But both places works for me.
That's going to work badly.
I just watched my eyes burn as I turned on nearly 400 squares of redstone. Oh. Well, at least I know that my red net's working. Jesus.
What are you making?
It's for the prison light system. I'll be having a main server room. Like, I've got my main server room, and that'll have the authorization system in there. So, like, people register their username and password. And what will happen is they'll get assigned to the lowest block, which is block D, and then they'll be randomly assigned a cell. So, like cell 1, like D1. And they get given a default of 10 credits to their account, and they've got to work for their credits, like such as cutting trees and trading the logs in. And then when you
Nice.
trade the logs in, the credit goes to your account, which is online. And then if you want to buy an upgrade from block D to C, you can easily do that at the booth.
Very nice.
And then your system does it all automatically. It takes you from block D, puts you into block C, and then you can move up the railroad track to your block C, where it'll be nicer, more comfortable, larger space.
Okay. Turns out I didn't need to create a new particle. The smoke effect already had a variable that I could pass in to set the lifetime.
Ah.
So I just triple the lifetime.
Okay, that sounds reasonable.
Let's try it out.
Was about to say the same thing.
Alrighty, so there are some people in the stream chat that have apparently not seen Mystcraft before, so we'll do first a check to make sure that what I just did works and works the way I wanted it to. But we'll kind of run around and play with things. Okay, so punk. Didn't spawn any effects. The reason for this is I failed to change the string it's sending. Oops. Alright, so here, that. That's all I needed to change. Someone just asked the likely, or if anybody knows the date for the next release, and nobody knows the date for the next release. But the response I really liked for that question was somebody said spoilers. I don't know if they were intending to reference Doctor Who, but it sounded like it to me.
Do you guys watch that over there?
Oh yeah.
Can I tell you a little spoiler?
Is
Just
it related
because-
to anything past The Angels Take Manhattan?
Well, you do know that Christmas is the last time Matt Smith is going to be doing the Doctor.
Oh.
I haven't
love
heard
He's,
that.
Doctor.
He's cool. Well, the thing is, I live in the area. Like, we used to go to the same school. He used to be my drama teacher. So, yeah. So, used to be my drama teacher. So there you go.
That's a shame. I love Matt Smith. He had a lot more of the,
Crazy wizard.
yes. The Doctor has to feel a bit mad scientist, a bit wizard, a bit mad old wizard, and Matt Smith did that beautifully.
Indeed.
He did, but I'll always prefer David Tennant.
That was a bit excessive, XComp.
The lifetime?
The number. It appeared that there were a lot of particles there.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
it's just quality of the
probably a
stream.
bit excessive right now. I was compensating for the short lifetime.
Ah.
So we'll go over to where it actually spawns them, which is somewhere here. Instead of spawning 100, we'll spawn 50. How's that? How's this, guys? What do we think? Good number of particles. The particles last quite a long time.
Is there a way to slow their ascent without making a new particle type?
I'd have to make a new particle type, but I could do that. It's not really a problem. Already kind of did.
Alright, then yeah, I'd say a little slower of an ascent would help a lot.
Okay. I will need to terminate this to do that, though. Okay.
Probably. Mr. Quick, the colored portals are just visual. People have been requesting them for a long time, and right now, in the current build, you can make random colored portals every time you put in a new book.
Let's see here. That'll slow the ascent significantly.
Alright. Mr. Quick, not yet. There may be a way in future, but it's not in right now, and I'm not sure what that way would be. There are some
How's
ideas,
that?
but
That was actually really nice. I liked the way that looked.
ooh, yes.
What'd you do?
This.
I can't
Oh.
see.
You can't see. Well, I made the link effect nicer.
Oh, okay. You don't
These
pass
smoke
gas when you go
particles are a
through
lot slower
worlds?
now.
You do. The particles last longer, too.
Pass gas when you get her?
Yeah.
Oh.
Particles last longer and they move upward slower. Whoop. Looks good.
Yeah?
Okay.
That way, that gives you a little bit of time. If you're chasing someone around a corner and they link out, you'll be able to at least tell if you aren't listening to the sounds.
Mm-hmm. Ultimate something is asking a question. Who is the guy that was just talking about RedNet? How can I get him? The guy that was talking about it, I think, was Luke.
Yes.
Sorry, hello?
No.
Someone is asking repeatedly in the chat, who is that guy talking about RedNet and how can I get to speak to him about that RedNet credits thing?
Oh, yeah, I understand. I'm going to be quite an arsehole about it, and I don't want to share it because it's quite unique.
Can't blame you there. Sounds like it took a lot of effort to set up.
Yeah, a friend did it for me because I'm not very good at coding, so
It's
I
not
don't
the
know
same thing.
anything
I don't
about
think I'd want to share my portal code too much because it's took a lot of work.
Yeah, this took a lot of work as well, to be honest, because we had to add in anti-DDoSing. Also, I've had to set out relays across, I've had to put up a relay network so it will go across the whole, the whole of the prison. And the credit system itself is going to be a pain in the butt as well. Because I'll have to use IC2 credits, which go into a Tradomat, which then gets ticked. Oh, it's just going to be a pain. It's going to be a pain.
Yeah.
It will work, but it's going to be a pain. And I'm going to ask Alaram really nicely if I can have a copy of her alpha build for 1.3.2. Which I highly doubt I'll get.
Alrighty, so there were some people asking what is Mystcraft, and I will attempt to answer that quickly here. Mystcraft, I have in my inventory here a book. And in this book there are some symbols that describe different things like slow time, which is actually a little misleading. Small biomes, it lists some biomes, white fog, skylands. So these properties all kind of describe a world. if I click on this black panel here, then I will be transported to that world. So I'm now here in a completely different dimension. I'm not even in the same world where I just was. This world has all those properties that were described in that book. It has white fog, skylands. Slow time means that the sun revolves very slowly.
I've been trying to figure out a better name for that to suggest, and I really can't. It's something
I
about
have a
locations.
solution for it, but it will depend on some future changes. So.
Ah, okay. Oh, I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably know what I'm talking about, but shush.
Yep.
Spoilers. Alright, so... Oops.
You need a hotkey to just pop up an image of River Song over the whole stream.
I can set one of those up. I'll have one of those for the next time.
Do you want to know another little spoiler?
Probably not, no.
Do you mind saying it on stream?
Spoiler alert, a Doctor Who.
Yeah,
David Tennant
probably no
was
more
thinking
spoilers for
about-
those, because we can't handle... I can't speak for the entire stream.
That's okay, I'll say it anyway. I'm saying David Tennant was thinking about coming back to do the role.
That would be interesting.
Now,
I don't know if I
don't
want
get
him
me
back.
wrong, he was a brilliant doctor, but having him come back would just...
Yeah. It's like, I really loved him as the Doctor. He was fantastic. But if they got anybody to come back, I'd actually kind of want Eccleston back, because he never got a chance, really. I know he didn't
Yeah,
want
he
to stick
wouldn't-
around. He left because he wanted to leave, but I started using Fantastic as often as I do because of him. Because he said that all the time.
Yeah.
I like Chris Ferguson as an actor because, of course, I watch a lot of British TV and, you know.
Okay, somebody just asked how you do this, so I'm going to demonstrate how you do this on the stream. Ignore those for the moment, I'll explain in a moment. Somebody wants to know how you get a notebook with everything in it. I need a stand. Or not a stand, the writing desk. Okay. Like that. I'm in creative mode, therefore getting a notebook. I get a notebook with full symbols. That's how you get a notebook with everything in it, just in the creative inventory. These things over here, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it only applies if you're in creative mode. NEI or creative menu or typing in the command to spawn it, it doesn't matter which you choose. The check is for if you're in creative mode or not. And if you are, you get everything. If you're not, you get nothing.
Right. Okay, so these effects over here that keep kind of popping up and doing things, what these are the instability mechanics to this world. This world I just kind of generated. I put down one symbol, and then the rest had to be auto-selected, which means the world's a little unstable. The result of this is there are instability mechanics. These just happen to be the three that were selected. I have Hunger 3, Poison, and Slowness 2. Which
The
makes it...
visible mechanics that were selected.
Yeah, those are the obvious ones. Those are the ones that affect the player immediately. They only affect you if you're on the surface, so if I go down under my little thing here, you'll see they slowly count down. They actually get the chance to do that now. And they'll eventually go away. There goes Slowness, there goes Poison. So it only happens if you're on the surface. There are other mechanics as well, and to demonstrate those, I can make a really unstable world and demonstrate the existing mechanics. It's not possible to fix instability as it stands. You just have to write the world so it is stable to begin with. Right, so I'll TPX to go below here. Alright, so let's make a very unstable world.
Duffin, you will not need to live in tunnels from now on. This is only for unstable ages. If you write them fully yourself and you write them well, they will not be unstable. And if you get very unstable, some of these might apply underground as well.
Mm-hmm. Some things do apply underground. Okay, this world's going to be crazy unstable. I shouldn't have added that many.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, this will be really exciting. Okay, so what I just added was the dense ores symbol. Dense ores adds extra doses of ores, including mod ores, whether they're enabled or not, to the world. But it also adds a large amount of instability, or it increases the instability score of the world. Just have to use it for my inventory for now. Teleport. The world is generating. Mining fatigue.
And-
This one happens no matter whether you're on the surface or not, I think. I'm not sure.
Yes, it does.
Oh, I stepped out. Now I'm also nauseous. Hunger.
Thomasons, there are levels of instability, and there are a great variation of mechanics as well. So it will be varied.
Okay, so the ones you see obviously are just potion effects. Especially with this wee effect going on. You saw something here, and I'll go ahead and, since I've revealed it now, I'll reveal it. I commented earlier that there was other forms of decay, not just the black decay which you're used to now. This is red decay. This is one of those basic forms of decay I did. I just heard a small explosion. I'm not sure what just happened. I can't tell you what exploded. It decides if you're on the surface by checking to see if you can see the sky. So if you get under a tree or something, you're okay. Oh. Wood block. Theo knows what that is. Yeah, this world's in trouble.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you see a wood plank in a tree?
I saw a wood plank in a tree. You know what that is.
Oh, yes. Is that the lower level or the higher level? No, there's just one. Never mind.
I don't remember what the max level for that was. Instability mechanics, a recent change is I made it so that they level. Depending on how many times they're added, they will actually reach higher levels. There's little explosions going off, but not many of them. I have to check on that.
Is there lightning? I don't see any.
I don't see any lightning.
Or perhaps they're simply not occurring near the surface.
It's a possibility. Seems like it should be occurring more often, though. I might have to check to see if it doesn't level
the
properly.
level system might have changed that a bit.
Yeah. The leveling
know how
system is
much
very
it changed
recent,
from
so it's still
explosions.
something I'm trying to fix and whatever. There's... Oh, yep, it's random explosions, and it probably didn't scale properly. Oh,
That's
also...
fine. Also, I think I see blue decay over to your left
Yes, you do.
as of the stream.
This is the blue version of the red decay there. They're a little different. They do different things. They work on different premises.
Red and blue are relatively similar, though.
They're very, very similar. No other colors are seen here yet, so I won't reveal them. Yeah, there's random explosions here, but I don't think they added the effect properly, so maybe I'll check that. Okay. So I'm
Yeah, I
gonna...
haven't checked them out since the leveling system was added.
Yeah. Alright, back to the overworld. And I'm still nauseous. Go away.
Do you have any high energy worlds? Sorry, I don't know much about the plugin, you know, ones that make you run faster.
No, most of the instability mechanics are negative, so there are some that make you slower.
I see. So I've never had a chance to use it, so...
You can counteract the slowness with potions of speed, but
Yeah.
you have to use potions to counteract it. You aren't generally going to get many that will give you positive traits, from instability at least.
One that's very hard to identify and, in fact, nearly impossible to identify. There is an effect that causes enemies to regenerate. And depending on how high level that is, they regenerate faster and for a longer period of time. So,
I hate it
Suburban?
when...
No, the red and blue can spread in any direction. They can spread to air if they... rarely they can spread to air.
Mhm.
The difference is how they decide what blocks to spread to. And it's a very subtle difference.
yes.
A lot of blocks, it will be the same speed, or about the same speed.
Alrighty. Well, we're doing pretty good here.
Thomason's, Mystcraft is quite easy to make worlds that give you some sort of advantage. This whole system is meant to make it so that it can also give you disadvantages.
Right.
And it's also meant to give you disadvantages if you're being exploitive.
Yes. The decay or the instability mechanics, like decay and lightning and things, are intended to balance out the power of being able to create new worlds, especially worlds with things in them. If you drink milk, then it will cure the current status ailments, but they will come back if you're out in the sun, basically, out on the surface.
Or if you're on the age and there's a non-surface mechanic.
Mm-hmm. Accelerated, I've already changed it. Accelerated does give instability.
It
Not
gives
all.
slightly under half of dense ores at the moment. That might be changed in future. That's
Mhm.
what balancing is for.
Yep. Okay, so one thing I was going to check, we were going to find out if this was done right. And it is here.
You will be able to disable these mechanics. You will also, and this is my recommended way, you will also be able to write ages that simply are written well and are not just completely random. And those will have none of these effects. These effects are if you didn't write the age fully, were too specific and specified conflicting things such as flat and standard terrain in the same age, or if you used symbols such as dense ores or accelerated.
Correct.
And there are separate config options for decay and instability overall. You can turn off, I think it's limited to black decay right now.
Yeah, you can currently, and that's the only one it will be tied to. Black decay can be turned off by itself because it has some lag issues tied to it still.
Yes.
But instability mechanics can be turned off entirely through one flag. Alright, so it does
Yes,
seem to
they
be
will.
doing this right. So maybe I just got one level of explosions.
Seems a little low of a rate for one level, but oh well.
Did. I'll up that some. We'll play with this live. We'll start this up. It's live, and then correction. Accelerated worlds will have instability. Not all instability will be decay. Not every unstable world will decay. And in fact,
You will get some
with the-
ages that...
with the
Go ahead.
instability that accelerated adds, it is not enough to make the world self-destructive. Just a little bit challenging.
With one instability, with one.
With one accelerated. With two, you're pushing your chances.
Yeah, 2's enough for things like meteors.
Yeah, you'd get one meteors, nothing else. One meteors.
No, I think it's 25 short of meteors.
Yeah, it might be
So
because I
just
changed all the
barely.
numbers around. What was I doing? Right, we're going to go back to that age. So,
One of the goals with this system is to make unstable worlds no longer on a time limit, and after a certain amount of time they will die. Previously, any unstable world, except certain exceptions such as Skylands, would be completely destroyed if they were unstable in any way. But it would take a long time to do so, and players would have time to set up a base like that. With these, they're more obvious from the beginning, and not all of them destroy the world. They simply require changes in the way you play the game.
Not seeing much for explosions here. Oh, there's one. Explosion.
How much was changed in the course of the leveling system regarding explosions?
In hypothetically nothing. Every
Alright.
level of explosions added. Explosions don't have a max level. And every level added
another
should
instance?
add another instance of the effect.
Yeah, that's what I would expect, but this seems a little low for one instance of explosions.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot.
With ComputerCraft, if I just wanted to send a wireless command, through modem, it's not that difficult, is it?
Your best bet is to serialize a string and then send it and then put it back together on the other end.
What? Whew.
Let me see if there's a quick tutorial on that.
Don't I have to specify a modem name anyway, don't I? Because don't I need program a modem to receive or something? I'll probably work it out.
There we go. That's a lot of explosions now.
Thomasons, if I understand your question correctly, it's dependent on your writing. If you write and are specific enough, nothing else will be added.
How do you stop red or blue decay? You don't.
Things like reinforced stone would help slow red or blue decay, but it would not stop it.
Correct. You can actually dig
And it
through
would
it.
slow it about equally with both. Actually, no. No.
You can dig through it, but it's not exactly something I'd recommend trying to do.
It's quite slow even with a diamond pick, or a diamond drill.
Mm-hmm. One of them, they don't all use the same tool. I think blue is you're supposed to use a pick, and then red I think you're supposed to use a shovel.
Ah.
But I don't
Yeah,
remember.
either of those should be handled by a drill, though.
Yeah, this is true.
Thomasons? No, that is not changed from old versions. In any version of the mod, if you are not specific enough, more symbols can be added. If you are very, very specific in what you write, nothing will be added.
The original version of the mod did not have a concept of instability, but that's really old.
No, I think he's referring to added symbols after writing a book.
Oh.
The symbol selection. RP block breakers and frames could take care of them, or the decay could spread into the frames and clog up the machine,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not likely to get all of it in the surrounding area. You would have to make the age into a void age to be sure that you got it all, and at that point, it's not worth pursuing.
Actually, these blocks, as they spread through air, they would eventually corrupt an entire Void Age as well. It just take longer.
Yeah, but in order to get all of them, you'd essentially have to check every block in the world that's loaded in the chunks around you. Otherwise, one could sneak by and fill up the void.
Clarify, these mechanics, these new, or these instability effects with the red and the explosions and the blue, those are new. But
Yes.
the concept of instability is not.
Thomason's, if charged is being added automatically to your books in 1.2.5, may I recommend you look at adding more symbols from the terrain features tab. And a variety of other symbols from the terrain features tab.
Yep, just one level of explosions, so I should...
It's not a single number, it changes per book.
Can explosions destroy your spawn area? Yes. Explosion goes off where you spawn, then it will go. Why is this being called multiple times?
Seeing questions about Mystcraft and Computercraft working together make me kind of want to go and get some progress in on my own mod, but just I have to have time for that.
Do red and blue decay after some time? No, but they will eat each other.
And black decay can take care of them quite efficiently.
Yeah, it can.
Thomason's, experiment a bit with adding symbols from terrain features. Eventually you'll figure out it's meant to be something that you experiment with. You don't just read it off a wiki. There was a page added to the Mystcraft wiki that very nearly laid out everything that you needed to do. It was actually based on something I had written in the forums, but that is under a spoiler page and such, so that you don't just find it accidentally. Black decay is simply the original decay mechanic. It's the one that spreads out and drops everything. If I were able to post a link, I would show you a link for decay, for old black decay, in an accelerated page, which is a quite amusing video.
Okay. Well, it's pockmarked with random explosions, and it's steadily changing into a blue and red world here. Black decay does not spread through air or fluids. It just spreads through solids.
It does drop.
It does drop. It doesn't need to do much else. Alright, so I'm gonna switch worlds here before I make all my viewers sick.
Yeah, while demonstrating, it might be a good idea to comment out confusion or nausea,
That's
whichever it's
probably a
called in
good
code.
point.
No, you cannot obtain black decay. You cannot obtain any of the decays. They are natural forces, and that would be highly... It could be abused very, very easily. In addition, none of them, if they manage to spread to the overworld, will work. If you spawn them in the overworld, they will not work.
Correct.
They only work in ages.
Alrighty. So let's see here. Gonna make a note here. Someone just suggested that we change the particle slightly, that we do here, so that it, where is it? Here.
With small X and Z offsets,
Yes.
so they have motion in X and Z, not just offsetting position, if I wasn't clear.
Right.
That could look good, as long as it's slight compared to the vertical motion.
Should be. And it should waver some in terms of positive and negative here.
Yeah.
And that will kind of nullify it in some ways. So let's see here.
You can spawn decay and place it in ages, and it'll work fine. Portable Gym, I believe I already answered you earlier in the stream. There are two ways to get to worlds where the descriptive book is gone. You can use TPX to link to that dimension. You can also use a command /mist-agebook, and it will spawn you a new descriptive book. Joshy Boy, that's not particularly related to Mystcraft, so I'm not sure why you're repeating it, but please stop.
Let's see here. I believe Gaussian should produce a value between
Even.
1 and -1.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
sounds right.
So we'll use that.
And it should even out between positive and negative.
This is 1.3.2. Mystcraft has had a 1.3.2 build for a long time.
Very long time.
Okay. I'll go grab my fodder again. I'm not sure I noticed the change. Let's make it a little more pronounced, especially for the stream.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was fun. That looked nice and arbitrary. Hello, sheep.
Joshy Boy, I do believe that there was a mod that does that, and Mystcraft has an API.
Sorry about that. I muted it while I concentrated.
Yeah, no issues.
Alright, how's that? That does look pretty good. With the random, arbitrary motion.
Yeah. It looks a bit weird when it goes inward, but, you know, oh well. It looks like it's filling in air, actually, which would make a lot of sense for the exit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, looks good. Asking what's it like coming out of when something else comes out of the portal. I dev Mystcraft, just me. Veo
Yeah.
runs forums and admin stuff for me. I dev Mystcraft.
And helps test and balance and
Yeah.
too much work. Work.
The list of things Veo does for me is quite long. That's what it's like when things come out of a portal. I'm not sure where that book went. Let's get another one that goes right here. Modify it. That was purple.
Thomason's, that's a complicated answer. Yes is the answer, but only if you have chunk loaders. And you cannot have chunk loaders in the current release because of a Forge conflict. That's why so much effort has been going into getting Mystcraft out of the jar. Once the next release is out, it will be compatible with chunk loaders, and it won't be an issue. And you can have 2 worlds loaded at once.
Yep. Mystcraft
Even in single player.
Mystcraft adds in some things that make it so worlds automatically unload the entire world, not just the chunks. Or if nobody's in a dimension. So, but those will still be held open if chunk loaders are in place. Railcraft chunk loaders will work, but they don't work in the version of Forge that Mystcraft release is currently on.
And using newer version of Forge than Mystcraft specifies is a very bad idea. It carries old versions of Forge code into newer versions, and that can cause anything from weird little glitches that no one can figure out to complete crashes on startup.
Yep. Seems to work pretty well.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Also, it looks like you have blood red pool in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, I really like the color of this portal.
I notice you haven't removed that book
I'm not
under
going
any
to.
circumstances.
I'm not going to. I've touched every other book, but not that one. That sheep. It really likes that portal.
The current release of Mystcraft is for Forge 247. That bit of code will stop Mystcraft from unloading. A world will be held open if there's a player in it or if there's a chunk loader in it, and in any other case it will be shut down, unloaded. Joshy boy, you cannot post links here. My apologies, but that actually means less administration for me, so not very sorry. Yes, that is exactly my point, Thomasons. That's why so much effort has been going into getting it to not care about the Forge version.
Yep. And as soon as balance is done, we're set for that. Purple. Yellow, green. Alright.
The original bit, I know of one issue between Mystcraft and IC2, and that was a power grid issue, which was caused by using a newer version of Forge with an older version of Mystcraft made for a different Forge. I'm not sure what you mean about IC2 and ages over 100. Perhaps they simply don't deal well with larger dimension IDs than that. I have no idea.
Alright, so let's see here. What next?
From here,
Yeah, for
let me
the
take a look at my notes.
yeah.
Well, other than the massive section on the thing,
The thing.
oh, I'm aware. That's why I called it the thing.
The thing. Yep.
Um,
Alright, what am I missing here?
Hello, Lyra. That was very quiet.
very quiet. Other than the things that you've removed from the to-do list, I believe, or my notes, I believe that is it for the things that you kept in there.
Okay.
So I don't know anything that you would need to work on right now on stream.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably everything for the stream then. Wrap this. This is right. Unless somebody has a specific request, I think we're wrapping up for the evening. Or the morning, in my case.
And I can also go and check Mantis real quick. Oh, that would probably be a bit complex to try to do while talking and streaming and such. There's an issue that's been brought up, and I haven't been able to reproduce it yet, but that's just due to lack of time. Apparently, if you create a world, then create a map of a certain area that's not centered around the spawn point, and then you install Mystcraft, it will reset all existing maps to be centered around the overworld spawn.
That's odd.
Yeah. That also, I should note, that also may be due to weird Forge stuff, so it may not be in the current version. So I'll have to go check and make sure that happens.
I think that should go away in the current version, because I could have a guess as to why that might have happened, but I can't say for sure.
Other than that, yeah, I'm not seeing anything that would be suitable for a stream, interesting enough, and something that you could do while talking in TeamSpeak and on the stream. And
Yeah, really. Okay, well, I hope everybody enjoyed it. I shall endeavor to stream more Mystcraft work, and at some point I'll have to go in on Forgecraft and run around while streaming. So, have a good morning, day, evening, whatever it is for you.